Rain tapped softly against the windows as Ryan parked his car outside Emily's house. For almost a year he had been waiting for this moment, yet he never thought it would come. Emily was beautiful, kind, and mysterious, but she had always kept a distance when it came to her personal life. She never let him visit her home, never mentioned her family, and never answered his questions about the past. But tonight everything changed. A short, simple message had arrived on his phone. "Come to my house. There's something I need to show you." Ryan's chest tightened as he stepped out into the wet night. The house in front of him looked ordinary. 2 stories, ivy crawling up the bricks, a warm light glowing behind the curtains. Yet as soon as he walked to the door, he felt an unusual heaviness in the air, as if something inside was waiting for him. The door opened and Emily stood there. Her dark hair framed her pale face, and though she smiled, her eyes held a nervous intensity. "Ryan," she whispered, "thank you for coming tonight. I'm going to tell you something I've never told anyone." Her voice was soft but filled with fear, and that alone was enough to silence all his questions. He followed her inside and immediately noticed how strange the house felt. The air carried the faint scent of sandalwood and old paper. The walls lined with bookshelves, and dim lamps flickered like tired guardians of secrets. She led him into a study. Ryan froze as he looked around. The room was overflowing with notebooks, loose papers, and drawings pinned to the walls. Strange symbols, dates, and messy handwriting covered every surface. He picked one up, frowning. "Emily, what is this?" She clasped her hands tightly and took a deep breath. "These are my dreams, or at least that's what I used to call them. But they're not just dreams, they're visions, and they always come true." Ryan laughed nervously. "Visions, Emily, come on, this looks like, read it," she interrupted sharply, handing him an old notebook. He flipped through until his eyes caught a page dated 3 years earlier. His blood ran cold. "A man in a silver car will lose control on a rainy night. He will survive, but barely. His right arm will carry a scar forever." Ryan's hands shook. That was his accident, the one he had told her about. The silver car, the storm, the scar that still mocked his arm. He had never spoken of it to anyone else in detail, and yet here it was, written long before they had even met. His voice cracked. "Emily, how could you know this?" Her eyes glistened with tears. "I didn't choose this. It's been happening since I was a child. At first I thought I was cursed, but the dreams always come true, Ryan. Every single one." He backed away, his chest tightening, his mind rebelling against the truth staring at him. "So, why me, why now?" She reached for another notebook, her hands trembling, "because tonight I saw something about you, and I couldn't hide it anymore." Ryan leaned forward, his breath shallow, as she opened the book. On the last page, written in bold strokes, were the words, "Tonight, when Ryan leaves my house, he will meet someone he thought was dead, and nothing in his life will ever be the same." Silence swallowed the room. Ryan stared at the words, then at her. His lips parted, but no sound came out. Finally, he whispered, "What does this mean?" Emily shook her head slowly. "I don't know. My visions don't explain, they only show. But whatever it is, you'll see it tonight." Hours passed in that room. Ryan demanded answers, but all she could do was tell him stories of her visions, how she had foreseen earthquakes, fires, strangers' deaths, even betrayals that came true months later. Some she tried to prevent, some she couldn't. Each time her words were calm, but her eyes betrayed the torment of someone carrying a burden too heavy for her shoulders. At last the clock struck midnight. Ryan stood, his heart pounding. I need to know. If this is true, if what you wrote is real, then I'll face it. Emily walked him to the door, her hand lingering on his arm, her eyes full of fear. Ryan, be careful. Sometimes the truth is harder than the lie you've lived in. The night outside was still, the rain reduced to a drizzle. Ryan walked toward his car, each step echoing like a drumbeat in his chest. Then he saw it, a shadow moving under the streetlight. A man stepped forward, his face partially hidden by the glow. Ryan's breath caught in his throat. He knew that face, he knew it too well. It was his father, but his father had died 10 years ago. Ryan stumbled back, his heart thundering, "Dad, that's impossible. You're dead." The man's voice was calm, steady, almost heavy with sorrow. "I'm not your father, Ryan. I'm the man your mother never told you about." Confusion ripped through him. The man pulled out a photograph, an old, faded picture of Ryan's mother when she was young. She stood beside him, smiling, and in her arms was a baby. Ryan's chest tightened. What? What are you saying?" The man's eyes darkened. "The man you called your father was not. I am your real father." The world collapsed around him. His childhood, his memories, every word his mother ever spoke, suddenly blurred with doubt. His legs weakened, and he stumbled back toward Emily's house, desperate, broken. Emily was already standing at the door, watching with tear-stained cheeks. "You knew," Ryan whispered, his voice raw. Her silence was the answer. "You knew," he shouted, his voice shaking with rage and grief. "You saw this, and you didn't tell me." Her tears fell harder. "I couldn't. Every time I've told someone about my visions, they've left me. They've called me cursed, insane. I couldn't lose you too, but I couldn't let you live in a lie either." Ryan collapsed into a chair inside, his hands trembling as he clutched the photograph. His mind replayed his entire life, every moment now tainted by the revelation that his foundation was built on a lie. Emily knelt beside him, her hand hovering over his, not daring to touch. "Ryan, I love you. I never wanted to hurt you, but the truth had to come out. It always does." The hours that followed were endless. Ryan wept, he shouted, he questioned everything he thought he knew. Emily sat silently with him, her presence steady, her heart breaking as she watched the man she loved unravel. At dawn, when the first light crept into the room, Ryan finally turned to her. His eyes were swollen, his voice rough. "I don't know how to live with this. My whole life feels like a lie, but you stayed. You told me the truth even when it killed you to say it." Emily reached for his hand, her own trembling. "I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm only asking you not to face this alone." He stared at her for a long time, and then, slowly, he squeezed her hand. "Your visions didn't destroy me, Emily. They saved me, because no matter how dark the truth is, I'd rather face it with you than without you." Emily broke into tears, her body trembling with relief. For the first time in her life, someone didn't run. For the first time, she wasn't cursed, she was loved. As the sun rose higher, they stood together by the window, watching the new day unfold. The storm had passed, but their journey had only begun. Secrets still lurked, and visions would come again. But now they would face them hand in hand, and Emily's last secret was no longer hers alone.